Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a seriously profound paradigm shift found in Islamic texts. It basically challenges us to move away from a life of passive reacting and step into a life of active, objective responding. We're not just looking at some ancient, dusty philosophy today. We're exploring a framework that can completely redefine how we process every single event in our modern, everyday lives. It's a totally different way of looking at the world, and honestly, it kind of changes everything. So let's start by questioning our default setting. Why do we obsessively crave comfort and run for the hills the second we face hardship? I mean, think about it. Our entire modern existence is structured around dodging the bad times and maximizing the good ones, right? We want the fastest route on our GPS, the most perfectly ergonomic desk chair, the smooth, conflict-free workday where nobody asks us for anything extra. But according to the texts we're analyzing today, this exhausting, endless chase for a feel-good state is fundamentally flawed. It actually just sets us up for misery.
Let's dig into why that is in Section 1, the subjective thinking trap.
This illustrates a massive contrast, and what I found really fascinating here is how the source material breaks down our mindset into two distinct categories. First, you've got subjective thinking. This is highly self-centered. Under this mindset, life is judged entirely by your personal comfort meter. If things are easy and you feel good, life is good. If things get tough or even just a little annoying, well, suddenly life is bad. But then, on the flip side, there's objective thinking. This requires a profound shift in priority. It means your life is a continuous active response to a higher will. Under this objective framework, it literally doesn't matter if you're experiencing quote-unquote good times or bad times. The only thing that actually matters is how well you're responding to the situation right in front of you.
The source text, specifically Surah Ash-Shura, verse 42-48, hits the nail on the head regarding this exact human tendency. It points out how we're wired. When we taste mercy, we exult in it. We take all the credit. We celebrate, and we absolutely love the comfort. But the second a hardship hits, even if it's completely our own doing, our immediate reaction is utter ungratefulness. We complain. We throw our hands up in despair. We get trapped in that subjective loop where we only value the things that serve our immediate short-term comfort.
Moving right along to Section 2, God's perfect control. To break out of this frustrating cycle of ungratefulness, the text asks us to step back and reconsider who is actually pulling the strings. Because if we aren't the ones in charge, why do we get so furious when the script changes? This verse, Surah 42-49, reminds the reader that God has perfect control over our affairs. It states that He has control of the heavens and the earth and creates whatever He will. The big takeaway: every single decree, every minor inconvenience, every major hurdle, every surprising joy is entirely deliberate. It's purposeful. In this worldview, there are absolutely no accidents.
The crucial point here is that everything, even deeply personal, emotionally heavy matters like having children or being barren, as mentioned right here in verse 50, is entirely in His perfect control. The text stresses that He is all-knowing and all-powerful, meaning worrying endlessly about the ultimate outcome of our lives is honestly just a waste of our energy. The outcome isn't ours to manage anyway. Our only real job, the literal only thing we actually have control over, is our response to what's been decreed. Now, the author of the commentary uses this absolutely brilliant metaphor to explain our disconnect here. Imagine receiving a beautiful, handwritten letter from someone you care about deeply, and it says, "Hello, how are you? I love you." But instead of taking in that beautiful, heartfelt message, you grab a magnifying glass and start obsessing over the font size or the specific cursive loop of the letter E. That sounds completely ridiculous, right? But the text argues this is exactly what we do with our lives. Life's events are God's messages to us, but instead of replying to the sender, we miss the whole point by obsessing over the font size, which in real life translates to stressing over the square footage of our house, the brand of our smartphone, or the exact phrasing of our job title.
Which brings us to Section 3, Life as a Divine Language. So if life is a message, then our daily experience gets completely redefined. Your everyday experiences aren't just random strokes of luck. They aren't just chaotic events happening to you while you just try to survive until bedtime. They're God's language. It is a 24/7, continuous, rolling invitation to respond to the Master, the one who is literally keeping your heart beating in your chest right now. It transforms a boring, mundane Tuesday into an active, ongoing dialogue. And there's a real urgency to adopting this mindset, which is captured perfectly in Surah 42-47. It commands an immediate response to the Lord before a day arrives that cannot be averted.
Notice that it doesn't say, think about your Lord or ponder your circumstances when you eventually get around to it. It demands a response. The text underscores that there is no time to waste and no refuge to be found in simply ignoring the call. You're in the conversation whether you realize it or not.
Pay attention to the highly specific action required here. The commentary points out that we aren't being told to just sit around and debate theology all day. We aren't told to get stuck in our own heads, worry constantly about future consequences, or hold endless committee meetings about our personal hardships. We certainly don't have to sit around waiting for some personalized gold leaf scroll to magically drop on our doorstep before we make a move. The command is incredibly action-oriented. God asks us to respond. All right, section 4, action over passive waiting.
So where does the rubber actually meet the road here? How do we stop waiting and start responding? Well, often when a child throws a massive tantrum in the grocery store, or we're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, our default is passive waiting. We get sad, we worry, or we just numb ourselves. We become passive consumers, mindlessly scrolling social media or binging shows just to kill time until the bad feeling goes away. But true active responding means breaking free from that victim mindset. It means taking tangible, deliberate action in every single situation and dedicating that action to God.
Here are some concrete, everyday examples from the source of what responding actually looks like in real time. It's not always grand, sweeping gestures or climbing a mountain. Sometimes responding simply means doing a mundane school assignment to the absolute best of your ability and offering that quiet effort to God. Or it means completing incredibly boring office work for your Lord. If someone shouts at you, responding might mean bearing that personal insult patiently rather than escalating it. It's about transforming ordinary, sometimes highly irritating moments into beautiful acts of purpose.
Let's push this even further. Let's explore a truly stressful scenario. What if you're jobless? A lack of regular income is terrifying for anyone. That anxiety is very, very real. But under this framework, it's framed not as a senseless, random tragedy, but as a direct message from God. He's presenting a highly specific situation and asking you, what will you do next? How will you respond to me in this particular circumstance?
It really boils down to common sense. The author uses a great analogy for this. When it rains, you don't just stand outside getting completely soaked, yelling at the sky and waiting for the sun to eventually come out. You take action. You open an umbrella or you head indoors and do something productive inside. You don't get stuck. Being jobless or facing any hardship is just the rain. You still have to do something indoors. You clean the house, read a book, polish your resume, or fix a leaky sink. The hardship is just the weather. Your response is what you actually do while it's storming.
To illustrate this beautifully, the text points to a famous historical example, the story of Prophet Abraham's wife, Hajra. Imagine her situation for a second. She was left alone in the middle of a barren desert with a screaming infant. And then the water runs out. It's the ultimate crisis. Panic would be completely justified. But what does she do? She doesn't freeze. She doesn't just sit idle in the sand waiting to perish, blaming her circumstances. She gets up and she takes action, running desperately between the hills, searching for a solution. We all get hit with analysis paralysis, right? We sit around agonizing, trying to figure out the absolute perfect response, the flawless career move, or the exact right words to say. But the core takeaway from this explainer is much, much simpler. It actually doesn't matter exactly what you do. Just do something. Don't sit idle. Don't scroll your life away waiting for the perfect moment. Take a positive, active step forward, no matter how small it might seem, and offer that effort up.
You are constantly receiving messages through the reality of your daily life. The good times, the bad times, the super boring times, they're all prompts. So I'm going to leave you with this thought to carry into your day. God is speaking to you through your experiences right now, in this very moment. The message has been sent, so how will you respond?